Good evening, comrades. This is part 4 of the Snare of the Fowler. We're talking about a system that sometimes has key players in it that are instrumental in entrapping us and keeping a great portion of our race of black men and African men from flourishing as they should. Many of us will strive against the odds, and we will become chemists, we will become physicists, we will become politicians and school teachers, principals. We have those things, and if we see those things, those are signs of what you call achieving against the odds. And people want to look at that and say, what are we complaining about now? We have money, we have cars, we have job, we have pension, we have insurance, life insurance policies, we have all of our children going to school, some of them going to college, we have degrees, we have education. What are we complaining about? Why are we still complaining? And my thing about bringing this topic is about the snare of the fowler. The snare is still out there. We have lost a lot of brothers in our sojourn in the United States, especially. We've lost a lot of them. And when I say lost, I mean incarcerated. They're removed from our ranks. Some people say that some of those decisions that were made by the justice system are justified. Some people say that they're not. We have political prisoners, men that are incarcerated just because of their political views and what threat they seem to impose on the system, as the system was scared of them. I said, like I told in the part 2, I believe, I said that the female does not pose the same threat as the male. I don't care what position she gets in the United States or any superpower or any developing country. I don't care. She poses not the same threat. And you're not a man just because you have a penis or testicles. You're not a man, that just proves that you're a male. In order to be a man, an African man that is trying to thrive against all of these things that we talked about in parts 1, 2, and 3, you have to have a guide with you. And if you don't have a guide with you, God will still be there. I mean, if you haven't chose voluntarily to be with God, God will still be there. But you're working in a situation that the odds are against you. And to be a man is usually going to be within the context of the adversity and the context of the struggle that you're faced with at that hour or at that season or at that time. Because to be a man in one society may be something slightly different in another society, even though they have what you call similar foundational definitions for what a man is. Okay, a man's provider, protector, disciplinarian. You might see that across the board, whether in Asian culture, Hispanic culture, Latino culture, European culture, African culture. You might see a series of what you call foundational similarities. But when you are a slave, or when you are coming up out of slavery, out of colonization, where your men have been subjected to the rules, the statutes, and the oppression of other men, those dormant gifts and qualities that you would have flourished with in a system where you were free are now stunted like a midget, like stunt growth. They're now frustrated because you're in a system that expects you to be servile. So your men are not taught to be the men that they should be if they were thriving in a free society. So now they have to come up with their definitions of what is a man in that context. And when a man begins to fight back and to speak up or to speak out, he could get his tongue cut out back in the day. He'd get himself hung. Just put the rope right around this, right here. String you up on a tree, burn you at the stake. Because you stood up and you didn't just have a penis. You didn't just have testicles. You had backbone. You had spirit. So you stood up like Malcolm, or you stood up like Dr. King, or you spoke out like Dr. King. You spoke out like Marcus Garvey. You spoke out like Muhammad Ali. You spoke up like Medgar Evers. You spoke up like Patrice Lumumba. You spoke up like Samora Machel of the Mozambique. You spoke up like Steve Biko of South Africa. All these men like Mandela, Winnie Mandela, Fannie Lou Hamer, Sojourner Truth. Man, you rose to the occasion. Those women rose to the occasion as a woman in that context, and men rose to the occasion as men. But the main threat is that man, because of his muscle mass, as Sister Frances Welshing, I believe that's how you say it, Dr. Frances Welshing, who's passed away from us, our muscle mass says that we can do certain things that the female is not able on a normal scale able to do as the male. A young man 15, 14 is much stronger than the average female at the same age. Not because he started off like that, it's because of his muscle mass, because of his testosterone, what his God has put in him. And you got these women that are trying to challenge this. Nature has set it up that way. You got these women trying to challenge this. They in their own little freaky world, or whatever it is, but we have to put our egos aside and do what's right for the race and what's for the cause of the race to survive. You know, these other races out here, these other people out here, they get off into that male-female competition. I can do with a male. I'm not interested in those kind of women in the struggle. I only if you are speaking up to further the cause of your people, and you got good orientation towards nature, and you know you're trying to do this. When I say orientation towards nature, you understand the role of the male and you understand the role of female. You're not trying to cross over, because I'm not interested in that stuff either. We're going to keep it straight, raw, straight, untapped, what you call unadulterated, pure personality, male, female. Created he then. Okay, we're going to keep it along that line, because that other stuff is just distraction. And so when you got these kind of men whose penis can get 45 degrees, okay, that's not superiority. I'm just saying this is what he can do that she cannot do. He can penetrate. He can rape. She cannot do it. So if that type of stuff is muscle mass, and that type of stuff is in an oppressor or a invader, they come in and rape your women, kill your kids, take over, beat up your men, subdue them because of the muscle mass and their physiology. So I don't want to hear all that about we all equal. We're not. I'm not on that platform. I'm not dumb. I'm not fooled by that trickery. And you women that encourage the emasculation of your own men, it's going to be the destruction of your whole race. So you want a penis? You need to go back and talk to the Creator about that. Some of y'all strapping them on. That's just sick. It is pathetic. So I digress. But let's go back to the entrapper. He's coming after the real threat. He's not coming after the female. He's coming after the male. And so you brothers, when you take up the wrong fight, you sway against your own people and your own survival. You take up the wrong fight, you go out here and sling drugs, you go out here and do all this stuff, they're going to catch you. The hunter is going to get you eventually. And you got to fight your way out of it because your back is up against the wall. Now you got to try to get up out of that. They got your mother coming crying. Brother, if she cries, she should be crying for something that you did like Malcolm. She should be crying for something that you did like Medgar Evers. She should be crying for something that you did like Marcus Garvey. She should be crying for something that you did like Patrice Lumumba, if I haven't already said that. Muhammad Ali. She should be cheering you on. And not every man has to go that route, but you should be on the route about your Father's business, about the business of your people, about the business of your community. Because if you're not doing that, you're not real men. If you're out here undermining the race and undermining communities and societies, you're not being the man that God has called you to be, or that nature has called you to be. If you don't want to believe in God, nature has not called you to do that. Nature has not called you to run over your own people. So the fowler's out there. Your ability is to outmaneuver the snare, outmaneuver the traps. And you're going to the military service. You go into the military service, they teach you not only about how to survive the battlefield, they teach you how to walk through landmines, how to try to maneuver around traps that are set, improvised munitions, like booby traps, tripwire. You got to be trained for that. And when you're dealing with the pits and the falls and the wiles of the devil, and in the spiritual realm, and even in a systemic situation, you are trying to maneuver through a situation that you could fall into harm. You could fall into a pit that was dug for you. You could fall into it and not get out of it. Even women, now this is something that I'm going to address down the road, but even women, if you look in the animal kingdom, lions are predators. Lions hunt. And even the female lion is just as dangerous practically as the male. So you got predators that are females that will see you trying to do something strong for your people. And they will send this wench, this bed wench, whether she's in African skin or European skin, they send her in there to bring you down, just like they did Samson in the story of Samson and Delilah. They will bring that fine chick in, that fine chick to bring you down because they're not men enough to go in and handle you themselves. So these are the things that you have. There's a snare and entrapment everywhere, and it's going to get the best of us. But let's say that if we can get 90% or 80% of our battle on the way that God would want it, the way that nature would want it, then we're doing okay. 20%, we might fall here, fall there. But let the amount of our success be in the areas of victory, even though you may be taken down, as if I can say it that way. So I have a lot of notes here that I haven't even touched on, but the snare of the fowler is there. The system is not necessarily designed for you. Joseph had a situation in the Bible where he was sold into slavery by his own brothers, and he was also put in jail for they're saying that he tried to rape the man that brought him in his own house, to his wife, and she lied. So if he had taken that choice, he probably would have ended up in a worse predicament, but he was already put in a bad predicament by refusing to do what that woman wanted him to do. So that's how wicked the situation is on. It has to be a God They're going to bring you up out of there. The beautiful thing about that story is God had already told him a long time ago what he was going to be able to do and what his brothers would end up bowing to him in the future. So if a man knows that God has showed him that, even if he's incarcerated or whatever the case is, he can lean on that vision and say, God's going to bring me through this because the Lord has shown me something way up ahead of this. Good. My time is out. Peace, love. God bless you.